Hello, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. This is Tony Andrews talking about topics related to clinical chaplaincy. Today, I want to start a series on discussing the document Time to Move Forward from the Healthcare Chaplaincy Network. Today, I want to talk about two different things because they're interrelated. I want to talk to you about their proposal about the competencies of a clinical chaplain and the area of HCAPS. So, as I reviewed this document, one of the things that was concerning to me, and as a good clinician, I wanted to reflect on why is this concerning me? And what concerned me was the proposal or their concern is that there is not a good CPE training curriculum that meets the healthcare needs. And the second concern that I had was their proposal of only needing 2 units of CPE to fulfill their evidence-based approach to care. So let's talk about having a healthcare CPE curriculum. So why did I react to that negatively or with concern? So is it my pushback to something new or change? And ask myself, is there some merit to this? Well, so after some time of reflection and make sure it's not any other issue involved of mine, I came to the conclusion, or my thought process, one, CPE was not designed for hospitals to meet hospital needs. Did you know that? It's not what CPE is for. CPE was designed to train clergy for clinical pastoral training, to get them competent to be able to help people with problems. Anton Boysen says, I think I said in another video that I don't have it totally memorized, but the minister, however you want to call the work that they do, they still do the work of a psychiatrist. We're involved in psychotherapeutic work. That is what CPE is for, is to train clergy initially to be competent to help people in crisis and with problems. And as he states, people with mental illness or the non-organic type of mental illnesses, we're there to help people. 2, the people taking CPE that are doing it for ordination and for some denominations, the curriculum would be irrelevant to them. So again, CPE is not designed to cater to the healthcare industry. Now, the question is how can we utilize the competencies you get in clinical training to help the hospital, to help the patients and families and staff? We need to leverage that. Things about the needs of the hospital are cultural or professional. They're not the clinical aspect of the training. So, and those things you can learn on the job. The structure will make you attend to those needs in the hospital. So that kind of didn't feel right when I read that. 2, no pun intended, they propose that only 2 units of CPE is required to do what they're proposing here in this document. Come on. I've been a CPE supervisor since 2014. Very rarely is there a trainee that's even competent enough by their second unit of CPE. They're just barely understanding or just beginning to grasp who they are as a person by their second unit. Now, during their third and fourth, I hope, that's where they should really developing their own theories, developing their own ways of making real impact in the care that they're providing for patients and families and potentially staff. And what they're proposing in here requires a lot more training. They said, they quoted Harold Koenig, who's a doctor, that chaplains should be able to help in the hospital's bottom line. Well, that's true. In my model of chaplaincy, which I'm doing my DMin, which my thesis was very close to this title. So if you hear it or see it in the near future, in the year or so, I wasn't plagiarizing. I wasn't doing anything. I was in the same vein as them. So it's a good thing. And by the way, not to misunderstand me, I love what HCCN is doing. They're trying to create value and worth for our industry. But there's some things I just disagree with. But I think if we were to join together, we would still have, still share the same vision and outcomes that we would want. But in my model, the chaplain value really comes in with, when Koenig talks about bottom line, I'm talking about affecting metrics of the hospital, what the hospital is measured by on quality, and which I'll talk in a different video. It takes a highly qualified, competent, trained chaplain who's trained in the behavioral sciences, who understands psychodynamic and psychoanalytic theories, who's able to uncover unconscious and preconscious behaviors and thinking that inhibits the patient's plan of care. That takes a highly qualified chaplain that 2 units cannot do. So affecting the bottom line with 2 units of CPE, not going to do it. Not going to happen. So anyways, that's what I say about that in the area of qualifications, CPE training, and competencies. I don't like that direction. What I do like about their proposal is in the academic side, not the clinical side. I'm not with. On the academic side, I'm with them. Basically, didn't really come out and say it in here, but kind of moving away from the MDiv requirement. I'm on board with that. The MDiv academic degree has no impact. It does not help in this direction or in any psychotherapeutic work. Chaplains are counselors, first and foremost. They're not theologians. So, though religion comes into play at times, but our first and foremost function is that of a counselor. And so we need degrees in counseling And in the social sciences, not an MDiv, right? So, we can get degrees in psychology of religion, because we still need to know how religion functions in a person's life. And for anyone who wants to understand that, I have a book real quick to recommend on how religion, how chaplains can utilize religion in their training. It's this book here, Human Relationships and the Experience of God, Object Relations and Religion. See, this is the type of training I give in my delve into behavioral sciences. So in this unit, we're going to be studying object relations theory, how relationships develop, and how people begin to see themselves and understand themselves, their self-representations, and how they see their primary caregivers and stuff. So this isn't just stuff for becoming a supervisor. I'm training my trainees to be almost as competent as I am. And so anyways, chaplains, as far as they understand, need to know how religion is impacting their functioning. Not doctrines per se. That's not how it goes. So the degrees should be more in the counseling and the social sciences, first and foremost. Number two, well, it's not really academic, but the ecclesiastical endorsement idea. In healthcare chaplaincy, since it's a counseling profession, you're not representing any church. So why do you need to be endorsed by a church? You're not representing the church. It's not like an ordination and say, hey, I'm ordaining Tony. He is representing the church. Go ye therefore and receive him. Clinical chaplains, we're not representing a denomination. We're not representing a faith or a religion. Nothing. We're not representing it. So we don't need ecclesiastical endorsement to do the work that we do. Now, accrediting bodies or certifying bodies, APC, requires ecclesiastical endorsement to be certified. So you're and an MDiv, I think, is still required. Now, and you're kind of forced to go that route. CPSP does not require ecclesiastical endorsement to be certified. But if your religious faith and you're looking to, if you're looking to be endorsed by your religion and they require an MDiv, well, then you're forced to get an MDiv to be ecclesiastical endorsed. So a certification in CSP is not required. It just doesn't need to be. And plus, in CPSP, we know that there's other religions who don't have seminaries, who don't have official organizations that endorse. And so, but still, in our standards, they say you seek out your ecclesiastical endorsement if that's required by your faith tradition. So, so it's not totally out, but we recognize it's not needed. You're not representing a church. All right. It really comes from ecclesiastical endorsement, comes more primarily from the military, because when they hire you, or not hire, when you go in the military, even though you serve everybody, you're still representing the church. Hey, this is Tony. He is representative of our denomination. Receive him. We trust him. He represents who we are. That's different. So that's for the military. So it'd be great though if we had at least move in the right direction, get rid of the MDiv and get a master's degree in counseling and still get ecclesiastical endorsed. That's going in the right direction. So, you know what? I'm going to leave it at that. Part one. With that, I think I'm going to talk. We'll go in another direction on my next video. So in this video, it's really talking about, as you've heard, the qualifications of the chaplain. That's defined. It's time to move forward. So, all right, everyone. As I end each video, do the work.